Okay, let's continue. So thank you for coming. So today we will be talking about the file server with Linux. So we assume you already know what the Linux is. Otherwise, will be difficult for you to understand the materials tonight. Okay, so this is our agenda. So we'll be talking about introduction, review some prerequisite knowledge. Uh, yeah, I forgot to add one thing here, which is Linux. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so yeah, we'll be talking about prerequisite knowledge and then file servers and then tips and tricks and then live practice. Yeah, I forgot to update the slides here. Yeah, never mind. We'll be updating the slides later. Okay, so we are GLC, Garda Lintas Cakrawala, based in Bandung, Indonesia. Our areas are training and IT consulting. We do MicroTech, Ubiquity, networking stuff, other brand as well. We also do Linux. We also do programming. We develop our own Redis manager, and then we also have regular event like just what we are doing here. And then my name is Achmad Mardiansyah, and I'm based in Bandung. Linux user since 1999, networking users, and a programmer. Okay, so I also do training. I'm teaching for living. Also writing some articles, and then do some projects related to programming or networking. If you have LinkedIn, and then we can connect. I would like to connect with you guys on LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn is here. Just type my name and then we can connect. So past experience, mostly we do network support, billing integration. So anything related to mostly networking, okay? Networking and MicroTik, and then Linux, and then programming. So that's the thing that we do mostly. Like integration with the billing, doing some monitoring, some IoT, like a migration, doing network migration from bridge network to the routed network, doing workshop, integration with other stuff, and so on and so forth. Okay, about the webinar itself, we do every week now. Yeah, so we um, already 1 year. I mean, we do the webinar since 2010, but in the last 1 year, we do it every week. Yeah. Yeah. So why do we do the webinar? Because we want to maintain our knowledge. Okay. So one way to maintaining our skill is by having a webinar, and then thank you guys for helping me doing that. Yeah. And for you, I think you already introduced yourself. Okay, I can see from uh, yeah from other countries. Yeah, thank you for coming. And then yeah, prerequisite. So in this presentation, we assume you already know how computer works. Not this is nothing to do with the MicroTik. Okay, so I haven't updated this PDF, so I should save the slide again. Okay, let me update the slides here. Okay, so yeah, at least yeah, at least you know how networking works, and then tried the network application before, like file share or something like that, to be specifics like FTP or NFS or SMB. Okay, and also Linux. Yeah, forgot to say that. Yeah, Linux. Okay, let me save the file again, the slides. So hopefully it should be okay by now. Oops, and then replace. Right, now I can see something different. Yes. Okay, so yeah, it's been updated. Yeah, so we do review. So at least you know that our file server is one application, one implementation of one application on network. Yeah, so we know that when we talk about networking, we talk about layers. Why layers? Because we want to classify functions on layers. So every layer here, okay, so we have a 7 OC layer. It's a layer for a reference. Okay, so when we talk, when we design a network, we say that, okay, in order to set up a computer network, we need to have 7 functions. Okay, and then this function is written in the form of layers, one by one, and then every layer is responsible for one particular task or functions. Started from physical layer up to the uh, application layer. And then the application layer is the layer that close to the user. Okay, so user only know the application layer. So when we do encapsulation, which is sending the data from application layer to down to the lower layer. Okay, so this is encapsulation for sending the data. When the data arrives, when the data is received by our partner over there, and then the process is called decapsulation. Okay. Right, so yeah, that's how networking works. And then this is the encapsulation and then the decapsulation. So doing the encapsulation, you have a data, okay, and then the data will be added by header, and then the header. Uh, uh, our reference model is OC model, but in the implementation is TCP/IP, which consists of 4 layers. Okay, so application is here. Okay, so when we do a transport, and then we will add TCP or layer 4 header. If we use TCP, we call it segment. If we use UDP, we call it datagram. And then down below, there is a process to add another header, which is layer 3 header. And then the result of this encapsulation process is called packet. The encapsulation process is keep going, and then at the lowest layer here and the network interface layer, there will be another layer added to our data or our previous PDU. We call it PDU. Okay, PDU means protocol data unit. Okay, on the layer 2, we are not only added header but also trailer. Okay. Okay, so up to this point, hopefully you can understand. And then as I said, the application layer is the layer where user interacts with the application. Okay, so this is what people care or complain. So we as the network administrator, we usually deal with the users, right? The user say something, or user complain something. Okay, so so this is part of our job. All right. Okay, so let's talk about file server. Okay, so what is file server? File server is a central server, okay, in the computer network. So usually, when we talk about server, and then the other part is called client, right? So it's a one architecture of network application. So either you have a server client. Okay, so this is architecture of application, server client or client server, or peer to peer. Okay, peer to peer application. So this is two types of application in the network. So if we have a file server, and then we usually we have a dedicated computer here, which will be accessed by other computers to access the service. Okay. So what it offers? So it offers a place for files, yeah, on internal media, so that is accessible to authorized client. So usually when you are working in an organization, either it's small organization or big, usually they have a file server. Okay, so when I was working for the first time in 2004, okay, long time ago, they in my company, they have a dedicated computer so that it can be accessed by all employees. Okay, so you just plug your computer, and then you can access the file server, so that you don't have to give the USB disk, right? So what happens if you don't have a file server? Okay, you copy to the flash disk, and then you give this flash disk to the others, to other friends. Yeah, which is not nice. Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. So basically, file server is a server for that makes user able to transfer files. Okay. And because this is a shared server, usually administrator can share, okay, can define strict rules. Okay, so these files can only be accessed by this group. And then if you want to access the particular files, and then or folders, usually folders, and then you have to put the username and password. Yeah, that's the example. Okay. Oops. Yeah, I need to replace some things. Oh, okay. Yeah. So here's some implementation of file server. Okay. So first is the FTP. Okay. So FTP protocol is defined, actually is defined many years ago, and then still being used up to now. Okay. So usually we use FTP if we want to store a big file. Yeah. So when I was working, usually there is a dedicated FTP server where you can use that server for storing a log file, for example. Okay, so if we have a customer and then we need to get log from the customer for troubleshooting, usually we tell the customer, okay, so we have a server here, the username is here, password is this, and then please upload the files to our FTP server, and then we can log into the same server and then get the files. Okay. So FTP actually is very old protocols. Yeah, yeah, because yeah, defined many years ago in 1980s, And then at that time, we don't have problem with the security. So normally FTP is, even though it has username and password, but there is no encryption for FTP in normal FTP. Okay, but now because we have a concern with the security, and then there is a new additional layers for FTP so that the transaction can be encrypted. Also, when we do FTP, please be careful that some FTP mode cannot be done using NAT. So I need to put that here at the one note here. Be careful with NAT. Okay. So there are two modes of FTP. First is active mode or passive mode. So we have a client, we have a server. So when the FTP is designed, there is no the designer is assumed that the FTP client and then FTP server, they are can be accessed each other. So in the beginning, when I access the FTP server using the active mode, so I will set up a connection. So on port 21, but the FTP server will accessing my own computer. Okay, so it's a sync computer, not a sync connection towards my IP address here. Okay, and then this one has a problem with NAT. Okay, so I can say not here. Okay, you cannot use under NAT. Okay, because usually the FTP client is on private. Okay, private. This is public. Okay, public IP. This is private IP. Okay, and then they will do NAT in order to access the server from the client. Okay, yeah. So for active mode, the initial connection is successful. Okay, nothing to do with that. But on the second step, on the phase number 2, where the server try to access the client, that will be a problem. Okay, why? Because the FTP server will try to access the public IP of my of the FTP client. Okay, which cannot be forwarded to the real IP address. Yeah. So again, this FTP mode is really not friendly. Okay. So please be careful when you do NAT, and then you have a FTP server, and then usually it happens. So make sure if you are doing NAT, yeah, make sure you are doing the FTP mode passive here. All right. Okay. So this is what happened when we do passive mode. So first we do initial connection to the FTP server. Okay. So this one is done. We do the three-way handshake and then so on and so forth. And then when you access, there is a command here, PASV. So we call it passive. Not all FTP clients support this one. Okay. For example, on Windows, Windows do not support passive. I mean, there is a FTP client, CLI FTP client that is built in on Windows. Okay, and then that FTP client does not support the passive one. So that you need to use other FTP client. Okay, so when it's done, the server responds by informing the port number, and then the client will access the data based on given information by the server. Okay, so next is NFS. NFS were born many years ago. Okay, in the same time like FTP. Yeah, so still being used. It's very popular also among Unix system. So if you are using Linux and then the client is also Linux, yeah, most likely you'll be using NFS. Same thing with the like FTP. NFS NFS has version. Okay, so up to NFS version 3. This one do not support username and password. Okay, no username and password. Okay, so how can I share my file here? So we can do like a dedicated IP address. So for example, you have a folder in your Linux system, and then you want to share that folder. Okay. So that one you have to specify to which IP address you want to share this folder. So that's the security on NFS. NFS version 3. Now they have NFS version 4, which can support username and password. Okay, so it's now NFS 4. And then the good thing here is we can use this as an external file system. Okay. Next protocol for file system is SMB, or Server Message Block. This one is developed by Microsoft. Okay, and then this is not open source. Okay, so so how do Linux community knows how to share files between Windows and Linux? So Linux as a server, and then the server is using SMB with the client of Windows. Okay, so Windows client accessing Linux server using SMB. So we call it the reverse engineering. So the a developer, the programmer is trying to understand how the SMB works. Okay, so we have a file client here, we have a SMB server here, and then they are trying to understand how the SMB works. Okay, by checking the protocol analyzer, so on and so forth, and then they're writing a code for that. Okay, so yeah, it was SMB. It is very popular in Windows environment. And then if you see CIFS, or Common Internet File System, it's the same. It's an implementation of SMB, okay, on Linux. So if you say what's the difference between SMB and CIFS, they are the same. So yeah, SMB is the protocol by Microsoft, not Microtik, sorry. CIFS is the one implementation. It's like a stack. Okay. It's like when you say HTTP, right? Okay. HTTP. What is HTTP? It's just a protocol. Okay. What about the implementation? You can use Apache. You can use Nginx. You can use others like Light TPD and other files, other web server. There are many web server out there. Oh, sorry, IIS. I forgot. Yeah, I very rarely to use Windows, so yeah, the thing that comes to my mind is most likely is the open source product. Okay, so other sharing technologies are peer-to-peer, like torrent. Okay. very popular, right, for sharing things. Okay, peer-to-peer torrent. Okay, and then torrent files you have yeah, the client has actually a torrent is a algorithm or protocol for communication, but actually the way torrent works is you have a client here, torrent client, okay, and then they are connected to uh, to the internet, and then they are sharing files. Okay, so for example, this is client number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. When they have files, they're sharing the files to the to the to to via torrent. Okay, and then it's client number 2 also see that this client C1 is sharing files, and then copy files to its own computer, and then it's also sharing the files. Okay, so one file is shared by many many hosts. So that's why torrent here is very fast when they are distributing files. Okay, because for example, if there are so many we call it seeder, and then leacher. Okay. Yeah, so if there are so many there are many seeder, it means that the host that is sharing the files, and then you will get the file faster. And also because the behavior of torrent is by utilizing your bandwidth as high as possible. So usually uh, the, all, the torrent files, torrent protocols also uh, makes your making issues in your network usually by eating up all the bandwidth. Okay, so usually when your network connection is not good enough for internet connection, okay, and then somebody is using torrent on the, on the same network like you, and then most likely if you don't have things like priority on your bandwidth, like a bandwidth management on your network, and then most likely others hosts will be affected. Okay. Yeah, so that's the another side for torrent, but from the protocol point of view, torrent is good. Okay, as an alternative for file sharing. Okay, because torrent has no dedicated server for sharing the files. Okay, so every host can be client or can be server at the same time. Oh, but the thing here is, okay, I forgot to mention, is the coordinator, torrent coordinator. Yeah, yeah, this is also important because when you set up a torrent, you have to inform the coordinator that, okay, I have a files, and then everyone that gets the files, and then will get the peers to the coordinator. Yeah, so I think even though it says peer-to-peer, but in some aspect, they need a coordination. They need a centralized a host that is used for coordination between them. Okay, so yeah, that was peer-to-peer. Others is Google Drive like technical file share, but this is not open. Okay, it's like Google Drive or OneDrive, right? By the Microsoft. What was the name? I forgot. Yeah, it's a file sharing also from the Microsoft, right? OneDrive. I forgot the name. Yeah, OneDrive, and then you can also use from, I forgot the name, the box. yeah, very rarely using it. Yeah. Okay, so that's one option. Other is like from Apple file sharing protocol, but you know this sharing protocol is only applicable for Apple devices only. Okay, and then others like other technologies that I didn't mention before. Usually, every um, every vendors, they have their own proprietary protocol for sharing files. Okay, right. So let's continue. Tips and trick. Yeah. So yeah, here's the thing. Um, because it's shared. Okay, so it's similar like the coronavirus. uh, yeah, be careful when you uh, when we have a sharing files. Make sure that everything is clean. Okay, because this is if this is a file server. Okay, and then you're sharing a folder here, folder. Okay, and then accessed by many clients. Okay, so if one client put files that contain virus, and then others which accessing the files can get also infected. Okay, and then there is a possibility that because this folder is mounted as a drive, like a D drive, you know, on Windows, right? You have letters that indicates the drive, D or E, okay, E drive or F drive, okay, and then there's a possibility that if the client is infected by malware, and then the malware will be encrypting all files in this directory, in this files, which is very unpleasant experience. Okay. Yeah. So please be careful with that. Okay. Also bandwidth requirements. Yeah. So when I was a student, I was doing a file server. I was the server administrator, and then at the time we do file sharing, a file server, and then that file server was very popular in the university. Okay, many people are accessing it, and then usually during the peak hour is very slow. Why? Because the bandwidth is already full. So 100%. At the time, it was in 2002. Okay, uh, the file server was very popular, and then during the peak time, it's already the speed was 100 Mbps. Okay, and then during the peak time is always 100 Mbps. Okay, so that's why usually when we copy our files, it's very fast, but during the peak hour, it's very slow. Okay, so for this one, I think better if you put like a bandwidth management, bandwidth management, MGMT. Okay, so that it can share the files based on the available bandwidth. So, for example, if you have a 100 Mbps, okay, and then yeah, if being accessed by one person, and then that one person will be accessing with the speed of 100%, which is 100 Mbps. If there are 10 people accessing the server, and then each host will get the 10 Mbps. So maximum bandwidth will be divided by total number of a client that is connected. Okay, so I think that's all. And also backup. Yeah. Here I think I forgot to mention. backup. So sometimes the idea comes up when I do the presentation. Yeah, because the file server contains important files, as the name said, a file server, important files. And then better if you have a backup strategy also for the file server. What else? Yeah, that's all that I can think by now. Okay, so let's do the live practice. So I will share how you can access the live practice here. So I already log into live practice as root, but you can access it as well. Let me share the access on chat. Okay, so please wait a moment. I'm sharing the access live practice. Okay, right, so here it is. Okay, so first we try to access the FTP. Okay, so I will install, this is root. So I'm on live practice. Okay, so aptitude. Okay, let's check the port number. So there is no listening port on port 21. 21 is for FTP. So I think we can install the FTP server. Aptitude install pure FTPD. Right. Oh, okay, let's search. Oh, there are so many. Oh, okay, so the spelling is not correct. So pure minus FTPD. Okay, yes. Oh, sorry, I forgot to share the whole screen. Okay, sorry for that. Yeah. So hopefully you can see it now. Right. So .d pure FTPD status. Check the status. What is the status? Status is active here. Okay, so perhaps we can use it. So we can access the files live practice.lab.glcnetworks.com. Oops. Okay, so here it is. But here I'm using HTTPS, so I'm not using it. I want to use FTP, so you can use FTP : blah blah blah. Oh, okay, so it's not allowed. So it's asking me. Okay, I got a question here. How do we log into SSH? Actually, I already created a username for you. Blah 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 X, and then you have to change X to number from 11 to 19. Okay, so you cannot just log into LiveX. So we assume you already know how to log in. So let me log into. Oh, I cannot log in. Okay, so let me use login from the command line. So let's check. Let's start. Okay, port 21 is open, and then FTP live practice.lab.glc networks.com. Okay, connected. Oh, it takes time. Okay, so live 19 at this one. So actually I already connected. Yeah, the port number is there. Okay. Yes, correct. Thank you. So it's asks for the password. Okay, put the password here, and then I'm in. Yes. So guys, I'm using FTP. Okay. So if you use FTP, we can do something. Okay. So that's an example to connect to the FTP. Okay. Yeah. So FTP is working. And then I can say mkadir folder 1, for example. I do ls. So that's the folder 1. And then perhaps if you don't know, I mean, the command here is not Linux command, it's a FTP command. Okay. And then what you can do is you can try help. Okay, and then these are the FTP command you can use. If you want to, let's say if you want to use passive, and then the command here is passive. Okay, so passive. Okay, so passive mode is on. If you want to quit, then you can just quit. Yeah. So I got here. Can you repeat? Yes. So I just type FTP. Okay, and then I clearly mentioned here that I want to log in using live 19, for example, at livepractice blah blah blah.com. Okay, I'm not showing you the password. Okay, please do not. This is recorded. I'm not showing any password here. So I just do like this. Okay, it takes time. You can use. I'm using here FTP client with the CLI. Okay, so I'm using MacBook, and on Mac there is a FTP client built in, so I'm just using it. If you want to use something with the graphical user interface, you can use FileZilla. Okay, so this is the FileZilla. Oh, it's got an update. Yes. And then lab. Okay, live practice. Okay, so I will add a new site, live practice FTP. Okay, so protocol is FTP. Host is live practice .lab.networks.com. Port is 21. Encryption, we don't use encryption here because I haven't set up the FTP to be able to support encryption. Yes, so I will use a plain FTP. Logon type is normal. Okay, I just put here live 19, and then the password is the one that I gave you. Right, so other settings. Yeah, transfer mode here is passive. Okay, because I'm sitting behind NAT. And then click OK. Should be safe by now. Okay, live practice FTP, and then I can connect. Okay, tries to connect to the server. Okay, just wait. Wait. Yes, using plain FTP is insecure. Yes, I know. Okay, here it is. Done. So, yeah, I can do many things here. I can upload a files. Folder 1, this is the folder 1 that I created. Okay, so here is the FTP client. So both of them are FTP client, but this one is CLI. This one is is something from what is it? With the GUI client. Okay, graphical user interface, which I think useful if you are new to CLI. Okay, it's easier as well for newbie. All right, so perhaps I can copy some files here. Music. Okay, maybe something in the desktop. Oh, maybe this one, D25 logo, upload. Okay, takes time to upload. Okay, it's done. And then from the CLI, I should be able to see the files. Okay, here. So how do I download the files? Sudo FTP. So let's try again. Okay. I got question here. Sudo FTP. No, you cannot. So you have to do FTP from your own computer, not directly from here. No. You do FTP from your own computer, not from the live practice. Okay. So if you want to download, what's the command? Okay, I do the help here, and then you can use get or mget. So get is only one file, mget if you want to download multiple files. Okay, so ls minus l, so you get, and then here it is. Okay, so I'm already downloading the files to my computer. Ta-da! Okay, so that was the FTP. Now let's check if they have SMB. Okay, so let's install Samba. Okay, or SMB. Yeah. Okay, so we can just install Samba here. So actually, the name is SMB, Server Message Block, but perhaps it is quite hard to pronounce SMB. So yeah, the the creator is just call it Samba. So aptitude install Samba. Okay. Okay, modify. Is setting from DHCP? No. Okay, share. Okay, done. Let's check the listen port. Okay, so we can see here. For port 443 is open. This is for Samba. 4139 is open. That is for Samba. Okay, so what else? Yeah, only those two ports. Okay, 139 and 445. Also, if you want to set up a password, you can use it like this: SMB password. Or if you forget the options, then you can check here. Yeah, SMB minus what is it here? Yeah, minus A live 19. Okay, so the password that I put here is the one that they give you. Okay, and it's done. So how do you access the folder? Well, you can use. I'm using what is it? A Mac here. So on Mac there is option to connect to the file server. Okay. So for example here, so connect to server. So it has options like SMB / live practice .lan lab .glc networks.com. Okay, it tries to for connect. It has yeah, okay. It says it's attempting to access, and then asking our permission to connect, and then we log in with the username and password given. Okay, connect, and then here. So this is what happened. Okay, live 19, and then here we go. I can add things like yeah, I can copy the files. Okay, I can add mkadir folder 2. Yeah, then I can do see I can do refresh here so that I can access the folder smoothly. Okay, so as you can see, the benefit of having a file share here is I can treat the file share similar to like what my local folder. Okay, so I can see this is just only folder, but actually it's safe in the at the server over there. Okay, in the internet. Okay, so that's a good thing of file server technology. So the customer or the client, the user, they don't know whether it's located in different server or not. Okay, very simple. Because we just only have 1 hour, we cannot do uh, uh, things like that, more things like that. And what about NFS? We cannot do NFS here, but when we do NFS, okay, let's maybe we can. NFS server. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is an example of NFS. So let's check init.dnfs NFS kernel. I can restart the server, but yeah, this one is failed. The thing is, if you want to share a files, and then you need to have a directory that you want to share. So let's say you want to share mkdir home/data. Okay, that's the folder you want to share. So what you need to do is vim etc exports. Okay, and then you clearly define that that the directory of that NFS is shared. For example, to IP address of 10.10.10.1. Okay. Also, you can see this is one example. Okay, one example of how you want to share the folder, and then rw sync no sub3 check. For example, we just copy from the example option above. Okay, so yeah, so what it means is I want to share this folder into this IP address. So other IP address will not see this one, and with this option. Okay, that's how you want to share the NFS. Okay, NFS is not allowed in this server, yeah, because of the security reason. But if you want to use that, if you want to share NFS, then that's how you do. Very simple. I mean, we just only have 1 hour, so yeah, we can only share simple things. Okay, I got the info here. I got the email. I got the a text here, chat here. And show folder appear on the website livepractice.lab. So what do you mean? Live practice, if you want to see the particular here, you can use live 19. So that one is for that one is for a web folder. Okay, so for example, this is I'm using live 19 user, and then on every live 19 user, we have public HTML. So if you put something here, okay, so for example, if you want to copy, oh, it's not allowed. Okay, never mind. We can copy. So let's say help. Is there any MV here? No MV. Okay. Or maybe we can just use SSH to log in. Okay, so I'll be using SSH to log in. So SSH to live19 at livepractice.lab.glc networks.com. Okay, wait. Okay, let me log in to live19. Okay, I already log in here. Okay, this is where I'm at. So I can go to public HTML. I can say, for example, touch hello.html. Okay, so that directly I will see something here, so which is hello HTML. I can update the hello HTML. So if you click, this is just 0 size. Then when you click, you will see nothing. And then you can put here's like h1 hello world, hello world, h1. Yeah. Okay, save. Yeah, it's done. Refresh. Then you will see the size will be changed to something. And then when you click, you will see something. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you very much. What is it? Can we protect folder with password? Yes, it's possible. Yeah. So for example, this is live19. Yeah, in order to log into a live19 folder using SMB, we have to put username and password. Okay, so if it is shared among users, and then of course you cannot do that because it's shared. Yeah, so that's why it is a skill for us. Okay, the control for Samba is on this file. Okay, etc samba/smb.conf. That's the control of the Samba service. Okay, so we will not talk much about that. So we just use the normal Samba configuration. Okay, and then yes, with the normal Samba configuration, we can access the files. So if you want to know more, and then you have to study the configuration files. And then if you are interested, then you can join our training. Okay. Right. That hopefully that answered the questions. Okay. So if not, then I think we can conclude. Yeah, as I said, if you are interested, if you want to learn more, you can join our training. And then this is the end of the slides. So at least up to now, you know some technologies how to create a file service on network. Okay, file service is very important. Yeah, I can. Yeah, perhaps I did too exaggerated, but um, yeah, based on my experience in every company, in every organization, usually they have a dedicated computer server, a server that is used for file sharing. Okay. So again, thank you very much. So this is the end of the session. If you don't mind, please put your feedback here. And in the future, we would like to know about your comment for the next topic for the webinar. Okay, so just put out feedback and then say something there. For further event, check our website. We have a Facebook page. Also, Slideshare will be on Slideshare. The slide will be on Slideshare, sorry. And then recording will be on YouTube. Okay, any questions? If not, then I think it's time for, it is time for photo session. Okay, so if you don't mind, please open your um, uh, camera. Okay, so that we can take some pictures for our documentations. Right, guys, so if you don't mind, please turn on your camera here. Okay, I'll count 1, 2, 3. Yes. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you. Guys, so again, thank you very much for the webinar, for coming to the webinar tonight. Really appreciate your coming here, and then hopefully I can see you in the next webinar. Thank you very much and goodbye.